Starting off with number 10, friends with Charles's wife. Before Diana learned that her fiancé was in love with another woman, she and Camilla were good friends. She even anticipated that she would be a part of her social circle following the royal wedding. Diana, on the other hand, realized before she and Charles got married that Charles still had a flame for his former partner, even though she was married at the time. Diana stated that she wondered if Camilla was making a mistake when she saw her in the church on her wedding day. As a result, as I was walking down the aisle, Camilla in her pale gray pillbox hat and her son Tom standing on a chair caught my eye. Literally what she says in one of her books. Number 9, blindsided princes. It's said that William and Harry were blindsided by their late grandmother's decision to approve of Camilla's title as queen consort. According to Christopher Anderson, a royal expert and author, the decision was driving a wedge within the royal family. Here's hoping that everyone gets over it. And although it is said that William and Harry are now friends with Camilla, King Charles has a long history of having an affair with her in the 80s and 90s while he was still married to Diana. In the end, Charles and Diana split up and eventually he tied the knot with Camilla in 2005. According to Anderson, who spoke with the publication, she was begrudgingly letting him do this, and one of the key elements was he promised Camilla would never be called queen consort. He says the late queen was skeptical about Camilla when she married Charles, and the circumstances were certainly challenging. However, through her dedication and loyalty to the firm, she was more than proved to her. Late queen was skeptical about Camilla when she married Charles, and the circumstances were certainly challenging. Number 8, the Queen and Camilla. Many of us know the Queen to be a small woman with colorful clothing and great hats, but she clearly knew how to stand her ground. By doing so, she helped to create a very awkward scenario with Camilla in December of 2020. As noted by Express, Camilla joined the Queen, then Prince Charles and other senior royals in one of their first public appearances together since the coronavirus shutdown. To the untrained eye, the event, at which people socially distanced, looked pretty normal, but body language expert Judy James explained that there was a lot of unspoken tension between the monarch and Camilla. According to James, Camilla stood in a very awkward stance, which was only heightened by the Queen's apparent confidence. James also noted that Queen Elizabeth spoke to the band that was playing, as well as her family members, with one exception. The Queen actively chatted to the band, engaging Charles in the conversation, while Camilla stands back slightly, with her rigidly placed arms suggesting an air of tension or awkwardness. Wonder what was going on behind the scenes after the event ended. On to number 7, still unwelcome in the family. Camilla was very direct about how William's children were with her. William made it clear that Camilla is the wife of his father, but not a step-grandmother to his children. The royal couple's 3 children are aware that they have 2 grandfathers, but only 1 grandmother. She went on to say William and Harry were respectively 20 and 23 when Camilla became their stepmother officially in 2005. She was more of a sociable adult that they occasionally saw at royal events. Camilla had never assumed any responsibility for the children of the Cambridges, especially considering the closeness of Catherine's parents, Carol and Michael Middleton. Number 6, King Charles is said to be on high alert regarding Camilla's drinking issues, which have gotten him into a lot of trouble. Charles has already persuaded his mother not to push him aside in favor of his son, William and Kate, and began by describing some trust issues that exist between King Charles and Camilla. Camilla wasn't satisfied with the title of princess consort, which Charles had promised to her when they got married in 2005. She has always aspired to be queen, and Her Majesty did not approve until Charles allegedly pulled out his ace card, which put Charles on red alert about Queen Camilla's excessive drinking. Before coming to a conclusion, the informant also stated he knows Camilla is a loose cannon who's fallen off the wagon many times before and caused him untold embarrassment. Number 5, the tampon gate scandal. How can we talk about Camilla without bringing up the infamous scandal? As noted by The Mirror, Charles and Camilla were romantically involved for ages, and a secret recording of one of their conversations leaked. Cue Camillagate. It was 1989, Charles and Diana were still married, and Camilla was still married to Andrew. And the heir to the throne and Camilla were chatting on the phone about private time they wanted to spend together. One of the snippets from the conversation was Camilla saying, "I need you all week, all the time," to which Charles replied, "I'll just live inside your trousers or something. It would be much easier." The King of England, everyone. The audio recording leaked in '93 and was published in People with the headline, "Charles and Camilla, the tape." Safe to say it was a very awkward look for those involved. Number 4, the tension-filled wedding. Charles's wedding to Camilla was full of tension. First and foremost, Queen Elizabeth refused to attend the ceremony. While she had given her formal approval for the couple to tie the knot, she did not show up at the actual wedding, making for a rather awkward turn of events. While many speculated that her lack of attendance was a sign she didn't approve of the marriage behind closed doors, it was reported that the Queen didn't attend Charles and Camilla's wedding because she is the head of the Church of England and didn't want to publicly promote divorce and remarriage. Blanca Cobb, a body language expert, told Geo News that Charles's sons William and Harry were visibly uncomfortable during the wedding, and the photos evident to pretty much everyone. William specifically was analyzed by Cobb and described as nervous, stiff, and plastered. And it was obvious that he was feeling anxiety. As for the happy couple, it's hard to say exactly how they were impacted by all the drama, but it couldn't have been the most painless experience. Number 3, Camilla and Kate. Camilla was spotted with Kate and Queen Letizia of Spain at an event in 2019 where Kate was accused of intentionally ignoring Camilla during her conversation with Letizia, as the Duchess of Cornwall was pretty much just left in the background of a conversation between the two royals. In the caught-on-camera moment, Camilla can be spotted trying to engage in conversation and seemingly butt in when she got an opportunity. At one point, Camilla even said something to Kate directly, but Kate just carried on talking with Letizia like Camilla wasn't there. So was it awkward? 100% yes. Did Kate intentionally ignore Camilla? It's difficult to say. Maybe she was just having a riveting conversation. Either way, it was not a cute look. And number 2, Prince William's thoughts on her. Since Charles and Camilla's marriage, Camilla has remained a prominent member of the royal family. However, her stepchildren, William and Harry, have maintained strict boundaries regarding the relationship. Angela Levine, royal author, says that William has made it very clear that the new Queen consort will never play his late mother, Princess Diana. Camilla was very direct about how his children were with her. William made it clear that Camilla is the wife of his father, but not a step-grandmother to his children. The royal couple's 3 children are aware that they have 2 grandfathers, but only 1 grandmother. And 1 Prince Harry. In Harry's most recent memoir, Spare, Harry's portrayal of his stepmother, who is now queen, is perhaps the most critical. Despite the fact that Charles and Camilla had been romantically involved on and off for decades, they did get married even after Harry and William begged Charles to reconsider. Harry hasn't even forgotten that Princess Diana referred to Camilla as the 3rd person in her marriage. Harry once said that the tabloids had portrayed her as the villain in their union. She was the 3rd person and needed to improve her appearance. The 2 brothers did not consider it necessary and thought it would do more harm than good. They still wanted their father to be happy, but they never expected them to get married. Harry stated because of the need of her to rehabilitate her image and the connection she was making within the British press that made her dangerous. Additionally, there was a clear willingness on both sides to exchange information. Given that she was on her way to becoming queen consort and that she belonged to a family that was structured in a hierarchical manner, there were bound to be people or bodies discarded in the open. 10. Involving palace staff in his affair. Even Charles's cleaning staff once kept his affair with Camilla a secret. Or at the very least, they tried. The Prince of Wales' affair with the Duchess of Cornwall, which occurred while Charles was married to Diana, is well known to royal family followers. And it's safe to assume that some members of the family are dissatisfied with the fact that their affair is getting screen time on Netflix's The Crown, making it by far one of the biggest royal relationship scandals. However, juicy details about their affair are harder to come by. In a well-known interview with News of the World, the prince's valet Ken Stronach shared shocking details about Charles's affair. He was even fired because of his breach of confidentiality. Stronach claimed at the time that he scrubbed grass stains from Charles's pajamas after the prince would sneak out of bed in the middle of the night to meet with Camilla, and even made sure his bed looked like he'd slept in it by ruffling it up. It was very elaborate, but no one was fooled by it. He stated to the newspaper at the time, "We've all been told not to speak to anyone about anything. Throughout his time with Charles, I became extremely ill as a result of the strain of keeping his secrets. Even though Charles has admitted to the affair and married Camilla, it's clear the firm still doesn't like to talk about the royal drama." Number 9, spreading rumors about Diana. Diana's former chief of staff has blasted King Charles's former courtiers for spreading lies that she was mentally ill. Patrick Jeffson, who worked closely alongside Diana for 8 years, alleges that Charles's staff smeared his first wife in a systematic campaign, while it was an open secret within the establishment that he was having an affair with longtime mistress Camilla. Jeffson said this is not just some casual gossip, it was a systematic campaign. Okay, it was a long time ago, but the man they were supporting is now our king, and these things should not be buried. They should not be conveniently pushed to one side. He went on to say there was a lot of nonsense talked about Diana, including rumors that she had an eating disorder and mental illness. He said, "I heard it all from people who should have known better. I think they felt threatened by her popularity, but some of the stuff was just nasty. She did not deserve it." Jeffson also claims that he witnessed firsthand how Charles was affected by the breakdown of his marriage with Diana. He said there were times when he seemed almost in despair over the whole thing. It was sad to see him so powerless yet still loving her at the same time. He added Charles was a victim of his own courtiers who had a point of view that was very much the king must be protected, but they failed to realize that people were flocking to Diana and she needed protecting too. Jeffson's powerful condemnation of Charles's former courtiers serves as an important reminder that no one should be subject to malicious gossip or lies, especially someone as beloved as Princess Diana. Even though it happened over 20 years ago, Diana's story still serves as a lesson in standing up against unfairness and injustice. On to number 8, scandals. This family has been involved in scandals for generations. Being knee-deep in controversies is not a good look for the representation of Britain, but they somehow managed to pay the news outlets to run stories to promote them in a good way. I mean, they managed to be so perfect that people sweep their complete wrongdoings under a rug, which, might I add, has to be a huge rug. No one is obviously perfect, but the extent to which the royals have been exposed for their controversies is so out of pocket that is actually shocking. And the fact that these news stories have not at all gotten as much attention as something as mediocre as Meghan potentially lying about being pregnant. Crazy. Political correspondent Nadine Bachelor Hunt argued that the royals are becoming increasingly out of place in contemporary society due to the family's past and present scandals. Number 7, travels funded by the citizens. The royal family's huge travel budget has more to do than just them having a lot of money, with one trip back in 2017 costing them $5.8 million. A few royal travel protocols they must follow included color-coded luggage, traveling with an entourage, packing a black outfit in case of an emergency funeral, and that royal heirs can't travel together just in case a plane goes down. Number 6, unloyalty. The revelations of infidelity in Charles's marriage to Diana left him, and now Queen Camilla, deeply unpopular. While he has managed to regain some positive sentiment in the British public, he remains less esteemed than many other members of the royal family. A poll showed in April 2022 that nearly half of Britons think Charles should let his son Prince William be the next king. A YouGov polling ranks him as the 7th most popular royal behind his mother, daughter-in-law Kate, son William, father Prince Philip, sister Princess Anne, and niece Zara Tyndall. Number 5, donation scandal. Charles had once been embroiled in controversy over donations to his charities. The Sunday Times of London reported that the half-brothers of a controversial figure made a $1.2 million donation to a Prince of Wales charitable fund back in 2013, and Charles's official office, Clarence House, said the royal did not personally solicit the donation. Number 4, hiding details about their wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is if you want to find out, you can. The family's communications with the government are exempt from freedom of information requests. How convenient. Their official papers are kept secret by Britain's National Archives for at least 50 years, so the lack of transparency has led anti-monarchy groups, including the Republic, to call the monarchy an unaccountable public institution that has the power, secrecy, and influence to willfully abuse its position. Without a change, many details of the royal family's private wealth may never be known. Facts about the Duchy of Lancaster's offshore investments were leaked back in 2017, detailing roughly $13 million in offshore accounts. Other reports have suggested questionable foreign dealings or arrangements. King Charles was also once accused of offering to help secure a knighthood for a Saudi national in response to a donation to his charitable foundation. Representatives of Charles denied any impropriety, but obviously that sounds a little sus. Number 3, slipping away from scrutiny. Despite the threats against their lives, Charles and Diana became intensely secretive as their marriage came to an end, at times even evading their own security teams. Diana was the worst, according to the secret royals. Even early in her marriage, she became rather good at giving her own security the slip. Like an intelligence operative, she knew how to elude her tail. This caused periodic panics when royal flunkies realized she had slid out to go shopping down the King's Road, protected only by a pair of stylish sunglasses. But even with their lack of transparency, Charles and Diana were the subject of intense media scrutiny, as they were constantly tracked and photographed by the paparazzi. According to the secret royals, royal watchers had a field day for many years. Photographers scoured Kensington Palace in search of images that might depict any hint of marital discord between Charles and Diana. On occasion, they found it. Unfortunately for the couple, these moments often made front-page news. Number 2, Diana's mental health struggles. After learning about the tragic ending of Diana and Charles's marriage, we find out how much his unfaithful and negligent actions impacted Diana's mental health. He clearly has narcissistic tendencies to the point where it became detrimental to Diana's health while she was still alive. Diana struggled while trying to find her place in the royal family, and her mental health needs were not met. The royal family has tiptoed around acknowledging its failures in relation to Princess Diana, but years ago they flat out blamed her for everything that happened to her. In one chilling report, Diana is said to have thrown herself down the stairs while pregnant with Prince William. She had morning sickness throughout the pregnancy and also struggled with an eating disorder. In the documentary, Diana, in her own words, she says, "Charles said I was crying wolf, and I said I felt so desperate and I was crying my eyes out, and he said, 'I'm not gonna listen. You're always doing this to me. I'm going riding now.' So I threw myself down the stairs." Unfortunately, Charles didn't seem very bothered. The Queen comes out absolutely horrified, shaking. She was so frightened. "I knew I wasn't gonna lose the baby, quite bruised around the stomach." Charles went out riding, and when he came back, it was just dismissal, total dismissal. He just carried on out of the door. Paul, one of Diana's former butlers, said that the princess predicted her own passing in a car crash. Apparently, she was so scared 10 months before she passed away that she wrote to Paul saying that there was a plot made by a member of the royal family and that her car brakes would be tampered with and she would suffer serious head injuries. And all of this would be so that the Prince of Wales could marry again. The letter she wrote read, "I'm sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him. And Camilla is nothing but a decoy." Will Charles ever speak on this super suspicious letter? Most likely not, but we do need the answers. And finally, number 1, jealousy. During his first marriage to Princess Diana, he had his first significant encounter with disapproving public opinion. Archival footage of the couple touring Australia in the new HBO documentary The Princess suggests that he was jealous of how much more popular she was. Diana confirmed that Charles envied the public's devotion to his wife in her explosive '95 interview with the BBC's Martin Bashir. The pressure on us both as a couple with the media was phenomenal and misunderstood by a great many people, she said. "We'd be going round Australia, for instance, and all you could hear was, 'Oh, she's on the other side.'" Diana subsequently clarified that the waiting crowds were expressing their disappointment that Charles was closer to them rather than Diana, explaining they weren't on the right side to wave at me or to touch me. Number 10, political scandals. King Charles had been accused of attempting to influence the British government. In 2015, Charles received confidential papers on the inner workings of the British government and that even elected ministers hadn't seen. How did he manage to get his hands on these papers? I have a feeling the excuse that he was part of the monarchy is not a good enough reason, but for now, let's just say that is why, since it is undetermined. The Guardian received 27 memos dubbed the Black Spider memos because it showed that the royal prince was somehow engaged in efforts about a range of issues, from orders of military helicopters during the Iraq War to illegal fishing of the Patagonian toothfish. The controversy here is that some people believe it's normal for a royal to be involved in political affairs, while some think members of the family should stay out of politics. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Number 9, financial scandal. Another scandal for us to talk about. Charles allegedly accepted unofficial commissions from a previous Qatari prime minister for his charitable endeavors. Sounds fishy. As a supporter of homeopathy, he had earned the label of being anti-science. Yikes. Charles has also drawn criticism for his lavish spendings. The king has 6 homes on his estate, 11 secretaries, a large staff of servants, many expensive cars, and an annual salary of $20 million. Yeah, I get that he's a king, but it's very interesting to know that not only does he have this insane annual income, but on top of that, the whole family is extremely secretive of their wealth and where exactly they get this money from. Any theories? I want to know. Any theories are welcome in the comments section. Please let me know what you guys think. Number 8, charity scandal. British police had launched an investigation with Charles's charity, the Prince's Trust, after reports of a cash for honor scheme. Accusations were made that a close aide, Michael Fawcett, offered a Saudi tycoon a knighthood in exchange for $2 million in donations. The investigation started after it was reported that Fawcett stepped down from his role as the chief exec of the foundation after being accused of misconduct. It was reported that tens of thousands of dollars were paid to make up for links to the king. So basically, they were trying to bribe Fawcett by offering him a royal title in exchange for money which allegedly would be going towards their foundation. Suspicious. Number 7, not the people's king. As hard as it might be for Charles, a key part of being the king is winning over the people, and as overwhelming his scandalous past has been, it's no surprise that there are still people who do not care for him as a king. Many reports from royal sources have claimed that the newly appointed king has waited 70 years for this moment and wants to do as much as he can to become a progressive monarchy and also to win over the hearts of the nation, as well as internationally. But because of their actions, media outlets and those who are more engaged in the royal family drama, like us, have been diving more into the history of the royals, which let me tell you is not the most perfect and influential history in the world. Tainted by the countless controversies and scandals, the royal family has been catching a lot of heat about how they are not using their power for the greater good, but rather abusing it while also remaining very secretive. Number 6, anger issues. The seemingly storbic romance between Diana and Charles. We all know how that ended. But one author claims things were much darker behind closed doors. Christopher Anderson has written a book about Queen Elizabeth's eldest son titled The King, The Life of Charles III. He spoke to numerous palace insiders as well as those who've known the former Prince of Wales or worked with him closely over the years. His goal was to further investigate the 74-year-old's lonely childhood and military training, as well as several scandals surrounding his relationships that rocked the House of Windsor. The marriage between Charles and Diana became so volatile that royal protection officers were wary of all the weapons scattered around the palace. Red flag. Anderson claimed the king had a huge temper. The constant tantrums and throwing a boot jack, which is a heavy wooden device for putting on hunting boots, made of iron and wood, which he threw at Diana's head and missed her, by the way. It was Charles's former valet, Ken Stronach, who alleged to Anderson that he was in the room when Charles, in the middle of an argument with Diana, grabbed a heavy wooden boot jack and threw it at her, missing the princess's head by inches. This relationship was so toxic from the beginning. The fact that it lasted 15 years is sad. Anderson wrote that during the marriage, Charles had sunk into a deep depression and thought he was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He turned to one of his confidants, Arnold Goodman, and allegedly said, "I have nothing to live for." Goodman allegedly felt that Charles was showing the classic signs of depression. Charles not only believed he was trapped in a loveless marriage, but he feared that a divorce, if it could even be granted by the Queen, would have grave repercussions for his children, the royal family, and the monarchy itself. Number 5, royal wealth. Now that King Charles is living a king-size life, how can we pretend there aren't any regal secrets he's keeping from us? After inheriting the properties from his mother, Queen Elizabeth, Charles has been getting a lot more attention, and obviously we're gonna dig into the English wealth and their secrets. For a regular British citizen, any inheritance over $380,000 is taxed 40%. But King Charles doesn't have to pay anything on properties, jewels, and investments that probably are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Whatever happened to eating the rich? The royal treatment is getting out of hand. Having all this money and privilege on top of not having to pay all the taxes that you need to pay? Insane. The same document explains that the British Crown is also not legally liable for income tax or capital gains tax. Personally, I think the British people should overthrow the throne at this point because taxes shouldn't be reserved for regular citizens. Or what if they flipped and only taxed the extremely rich? Only. That is a society I would love to live in. Number 4, hiding details about their wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is if you want to find out, you can. The family's communications with the government are exempt from freedom of information requests, and their official papers are kept secret by Britain's National Archives for at least 50 years. The lack of transparency has led anti-monarchy groups, including the Republic, to call the monarchy an unaccountable public institution that has the power, secrecy, and influence to willfully abuse its position. Without a change, many details of the royal family's private wealth may never be known. Facts about the Duchy of Lancaster's offshore investments were leaked back in 2017, and those detailed roughly $13 million in offshore accounts. Other reports have suggested questionable foreign dealings or arrangements, including the knighthood offered to a Saudi national in response to the donation to his charitable foundation. Number 3, Princess Diana's letter. Paul, one of Diana's former butlers, said that the princess predicted her own passing in a car crash. Eerie. Apparently, she was so scared 10 months before she passed that she wrote to Paul saying that there was a plot made by a member of the royal family and that her car brakes would be tampered with and she would suffer serious head injuries, and all of this would be so that the Prince of Wales could marry again. The letter she wrote read, "I'm sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry." And whatever happened to this letter? They kept it in a very safe place, but will Charles ever elaborate on this super suspicious letter by Diana? Most likely not, but we would love to know the answers to this. Number 2, the royal affair. This one is no big secret. The Princess of Wales was very much aware of Charles cheating on her with Camilla. His mistress at the time was regarded as a villain long before Diana and Charles filed for divorce, and additionally she was resented up until the passing of Diana. The then Duchess of Cornwall was not specifically held accountable for Prince Diana's misfortune, but they did, however, discover a newfound hatred for her. And because of that hatred, Camilla had to hide for months. If Camilla had never gotten herself in this mess with Charles being one of the most hated royals, it would have never been something she'd have to worry about. But it makes you question, if he cheated on Diana, who knows if he's cheated on Camilla? And was able to somehow figure out how to successfully hide it from her. Number 1, the unwelcome mistress. The British public's acceptance of Camilla as Charles's lover was put on hold after Diana's passing. Even though it seemed illogical, Diana's passing made Camilla a supervillain in the royal saga. Charles and Camilla probably would have married much earlier if Diana had survived and gotten married as expected. Instead, for a number of years, they kept the relationship under wraps and out of the public eye. In 2004, the Prince of Wales tied the knot with his longtime partner, but she chose not to style her name as Princess of Wales. Number 10, B-scare. This caught on camera moment should be definitely labeled awkward. While on a trip to New Zealand, Camilla Parker Bowles and Prince Charles made a number of stops at important locations, all in order to soak in the gorgeous New Zealand culture. Well, things didn't exactly go to plan while they were meeting a Tuatara reptile. Let's explain. As noted by Sky News, the royal couple visited the Orokonui Eco Sanctuary in the South Island near Dunedin. While at the sanctuary, they got up close and personal with a little lizard-like creature, and from the photos, they seemed both enthralled and repelled. But things went sort of downhill. As the couple were intrigued by the little guy, a bumblebee did a straight dive towards Camilla, who swatted the buzzing creature away. So what did the bee do? It went for Charles. And the king yelped in fright. That's kind of funny. Number 9, when asked about Prince Harry. It literally felt like the sky had fallen on the monarchy when Prince Harry and Meghan announced they would be stepping back from the roles as senior royals. But that was just the beginning. Their departure led to a rather public and very brutal feud between Harry and members of the royal family, particularly William and Charles. Not too long after the news dropped about Harry and Meghan giving up their roles, Camilla attended the 40th anniversary of the Prospect Hospice Swindon. As noted by Entertainment Tonight, a reporter shouted to her, "Will you miss Harry and Meghan?" as she was leaving this event. Here's where things got awkward. She paused and smiled and said, course, while walking away. The whole thing was pretty cringeworthy. Some people took to Twitter to express their thoughts on the awkward moment, with one saying that the body language doesn't match up. I'm gonna have to agree with that. Number 8, the difficult umbrella. We've all had fights with an umbrella, there's no doubt about it. Ever walk down the city streets of New York or Chicago during a rainstorm and your umbrella just refuses to open because of the wind? There's no graceful way to recover from that, and it turns out that even royals have to deal with particularly awkward incidents like those. As noted by the Daily Mail, Camilla and Charles were visiting Malta, and as they stepped off their plane, the rather blustery conditions proved to be quite difficult for Camilla and her umbrella. As she joined her husband outside the plane, Camilla was met by a huge gust of wind that basically forced her into fighting with her umbrella. She just could not get it to stay open. Luckily for her, a gracious man who was not her husband, might we add, helped her with the device, and she successfully got off the plane and joined the crowd. Camilla's hair also got a bit tousled in the wind, but she walked it off like a pro. Number 7, the Queen and Camilla. Many of us know the late Queen to be a small woman with colorful clothing and great hats, but she clearly knows how to stand her ground. By doing so, she helped to create a very awkward scenario with Camilla in December of 2020. As noted by Express, Camilla joined the Queen, King Charles, and other senior royals in one of their first public appearances together. The untrained eye, the event at which people socially distanced, looked pretty normal, but body language expert Judy James explained that there was a lot of unspoken tension between the monarch and Camilla. According to James, Camilla stood in a very awkward stance, which was only heightened by the Queen's apparent confidence. James also noted that Queen Elizabeth spoke to the band that was playing as well as her family members, with one exception. The Queen actively chats to the band, engaging Charles in the conversation, while Camilla stands back slightly, with her rigidly placed arms suggesting an air of tension or awkwardness. James said, "We wonder what was going on behind the scenes after that event ended." Number 6, awkward hug. You don't have to be a fan of the royals to know that they're not the most affectionate bunch. Take Charles and Diana into consideration. At their peak, people thought that they were the picture of love and happiness, but if you look back at pictures, they seem to barely acknowledge each other, let alone show any kind of physical affection. While things seem to be a far rosier between Camilla and Charles, PDA is still rare, so when a fan from Korea hugged Camilla during a walk around Liverpool, she appeared shook. As noted by Hello magazine, Camilla was visiting Liverpool and saying hello to the crowd when Monsoon Kim, a big fan, embraced the Duchess. "I was so excited. I've never seen a member of the royal family before," she said. "I was passing and heard the then prince and his wife were coming and decided to stay. I hope I wasn't wrong to give her a hug." Camilla's body definitely looked pretty stiff during the hug, but Kim revealed that the Duchess said, "Nice to meet you," after the brief embrace. Hopefully the awkward interaction didn't throw her too much. On to number 5, awkward couple. There's a lot to be said about having such a public life. Camilla, especially in her proximity to King Charles, has been in the spotlight for decades, so the cameras really have captured her at her happiest and most miserable. As noted by the Daily Star, the opening ceremony for the Commonwealth Games in 2018 captured what appeared to be a very down-in-the-dumps Camilla, thought to be miserable and uninterested. If you don't believe us, you might take the word of a body language expert, Judy James. The expert in question told the Daily Star that the event saw Camilla looking anxious, reluctant, and lacking in bounce, and she certainly appeared that way in most photos from that event. James even went as far as to compare Camilla to younger royals like William and Kate. Charles and Camilla appeared at times anxious and reluctant and lacking in any youthful bounce that could imply keenness. Unlike the current royals and the younger royals, they tend to have the effect of making you worried rather than happier. Yikes. Talk about awkwardness. Number 4, tampon gate. How can we talk about Queen Camilla's awkward moments without bringing up the infamous tampon gate scandal? While not a caught on camera moment for Camilla, it is a caught on tape dilemma, and it's so dramatic that it had to be included. As noted by the Mirror, Prince Charles and Camilla were romantically involved for ages, and a secret recording of one of their phone conversations leaked. Cue Camilla Gate. We'll give you all the details. It was 1989, Charles and Diana were still married, and Camilla was still married to Andrew, and the heir to the throne back then and Camilla were chatting on the phone about private time they wanted to spend together. We'll give you some of the more PG snippets from the conversation. Camilla says, "I need you all week, all the time," to which Charles replied, "I'll just live inside your trousers or something. It would be much easier." Yes, the future king of Britain, guys. The audio recording leaked in 1993 and was published in People with the headline, "Charles and Camilla, the tape." Safe to say it was a very awkward look for those involved. Number 3, Princess Anne and Queen Camilla. The royal family is all about stoicism and looking put together, but that steely demeanor may have gone a bit far on Princess Anne's part. One of her interactions with Camilla was beyond awkward. As noted by Express, Anne and Camilla were pictured together at a formal event. Body language expert Darren Stanton took a look at the interaction in question and immediately pointed to the awkward tension between the two women. Camilla's hands are not visible. This is a sign of slight anxiety and insecurity, he said. Pointing to Camilla holding a small purse, he noted, holding her bag, Camilla's hand position, although taken in a single still shot, appears to be less confident than Princess Anne. Of course, Stanton pointed out Anne's strong personality as having been a factor, but the history between the two women should also be noted. Royal biographer Sally Beadle Smith told Vanity Fair that Anne and Andrew, Camilla's ex-husband, dated in the early 70s. Possibly a factor between the two women that still contributed to the icy tension between them. Number 2, the tension-filled wedding. Weddings can come with heaps of stress, and Charles and Camilla's was full of tension. First and foremost, Queen Elizabeth refused to attend the ceremony. While she had given her formal approval for the couple to tie the knot, she did not show up at the actual wedding, making for a rather awkward turn of events. While many speculated that her lack of attendance was a sign she didn't approve of the marriage behind closed doors, it was reported the Queen didn't attend because she is the head of the Church of England and didn't want to publicly promote divorce and remarriage. Blanca Cobb, body language expert, told Geo News that Charles' sons, William and Harry, were visibly uncomfy during the wedding and the photos, evident to pretty much everyone. William specifically was analyzed by Cobb and described as nervous, stiff, and plastered, as it was obvious that he was feeling some anxiety. As for the happy couple, it's hard to say exactly how they were impacted by all the drama, but it couldn't have been the most painless experience. And finally, number 1, Camilla and Kate. This awkward interaction might take the cake. As noted by The Mirror, Camilla was spotted with Kate Middleton and Queen Letizia of Spain at an event in 2019. Sounds harmless so far. Just a couple of international royals gabbing, right? Wrong. Kate was accused of intentionally ignoring Camilla during her conversation with Letizia, as the Duchess of Cornwall was pretty much left in the background of a conversation between the two royals. In the caught on camera moment, Camilla can be spotted trying to engage in conversation and seemingly butt in when she got an opportunity. At one point, Camilla even said something to Kate directly, but Kate just carried on talking with Letizia like Camilla wasn't there. Some people took to social media to point out the Duchess of Cambridge's behavior, with one user writing that the video was awful. So was it awkward? 100% yes. Did Kate intentionally ignore Camilla? It's difficult to say. Maybe she was just having a riveting conversation. Either way, it was not a cute look. Starting off with number 10, media. Do we really need to talk about the many times the couple has brought up the royal family after stepping down? Meg and Harry managed to get a whole lot of attention after their announcement to move out of the palace, which eventually led to them stepping down. Now, obviously, the British media did not take this news lightly, with many outlets creating stories not supporting the royals or their decisions. It seemed like once the two were out of the palace, they had a hard time dealing with the media and really kept on making headlines. From getting caught spending too much money to using private jets, Harry and Meghan have been under a lot of scrutiny by the public. This has become so bad that it's created a divide among people who are in support of them and those who are not. Something that should be avoided. People are no longer neutral towards the couple, making it impossible to have an open discussion about this topic without bias. It's clear Harry and Meghan need to take some time out of the spotlight in order for people to forget about their past issues with the media and hopefully create a better image of themselves. In order to do this, they just need to find a way to communicate with the British media without making headlines or creating controversy. Number 9, Harry and Meg docuseries. Since the backlash from their infamous interview didn't seem to do anything, it was followed by this tell-all docuseries that dove into the personal lives of the couple and their experiences at the royal palace, which they felt was mandatory to share with the rest of the world. And just to be clear, this caused just as much, if not more, backlash, with more people questioning why the couple keeps sharing all these personal stories after claiming they want to keep their personal lives away from the media attention. Many people have started to see Harry and Meg as attention-seeking with their antics on social media and the constant press coverage they are subject to. Whether this is true or not is up for debate, but it's clear that neither of them has done themselves any favor in terms of public opinion. People are growing tired of hearing about their drama, and there seems to be no end in sight to their story. The docuseries was an interesting watch, but it didn't do anything to make the general public feel any better about Harry and Meg. In fact, after watching the show, people had even more questions why they do what they do and why they keep airing out all of their personal drama. The bottom line is that it doesn't seem like anyone really likes Meg and Harry. They're seen as attention seekers, and no matter what they do, people just don't seem to be rallying around them with support or understanding. Even when they have good intentions, there still seems to be a negative reaction from the public. Number 8, leaving the family. Once the couple officially left the family, it seemed as if there was only one thing Meghan and Harry were chasing: the bag. Since they don't make money as working members of the royals, they've made commercial arrangements where it seems like the only thing keeping them relevant is the fascination with them fleeing the royal family, which I can't lie is a pretty savage move. With the constant drama and the tabloid coverage that follows them everywhere they go, it's no wonder people are sick of hearing about them. Not to mention all the rules for the media when they were in the royal family. They would not let photographers take pictures of Archie until he was 6 months old, which is a very long time for such an important event. The media was also not able to take pictures or videos of Archie's first birthday, which is also a major milestone in his life. It seems that the secrecy surrounding their lives made people feel like they had something to hide, and that added even more fuel to the fire when it comes to public opinion. The constant drama seems like every time you turn around, something else is happening with Meg and Harry. Whether it's drama between their families, or a royal scandal, or just general gossip, people can't seem to get enough of it. And the more they hear about it, the less they like the couple. The constant media attention on them also takes away from the other royals who are making real contributions to the monarchy and to society. The lack of accountability when it comes to their choices also doesn't help. They're often seen as flaunting their wealth without really using it for any meaningful cause, which rubs people the wrong way. Number 7, deals. The couple claimed to have given up a lot to start a whole new life, but did they? So far, most things they've been doing involve the fact that they haven't moved on from their past life. For one, the title of Harry and Meg's foundation caused some royal drama because they were trying to use royal Sussexes while not being working royal members anymore. No one likes Harry and Meghan, at least not in the way they used to. You know, when we all thought that Prince Harry was some sort of knight in shining armor and Meghan Markle was a modern-day Cinderella. Fast forward to now, and it's clear that the couple has lost a lot of the public support. It seems like every move they make is met with scrutiny and criticism. From their decision to keep private details about their son Archie, to their expensive renovation costs to their new home, they seem to be making decisions that don't sit well with everyone. It's hard to tell if Harry and Meghan will ever regain the public's trust, but one thing is sure: they've lost a lot of their fans. From the looks of it, this once beloved couple may have to do some serious work if they ever want to get back into people's good graces. One possible way to start would be for them to take more accountability for their actions and be more transparent about how their decisions could affect the public. Until then, it seems like no one will be loving Harry and Meghan as much as they used to. Only time will tell if the couple can win back people's trust, but for now, it's safe to say that the royal couple has quite a long road ahead of them if they want to rebuild their image and start to receive the same level of positive public opinion they once had. As long as they continue to make decisions that benefit them and not necessarily the people, it seems unlikely that we'll see a return of their good old days anytime soon. Number 6, the family drama. Where do I even begin? After Harry had a discussion with Will about Meg, an argument was created, and according to Spare, Will, future king, pushed Harry onto the floor. Camilla has admitted to not liking Meg, and while the dislike is reciprocated, the Queen Consort has admitted she's never been a fan of the Duchess of Sussex. In addition to that, there's also the infamous rift between Harry and his brother, William. It all began when Will reportedly told Harry he needed to put his foot down with Meg while they were still dating. That sparked an argument and reportedly caused a rift ever since. The way Meg was received by the royal family may have been another reason why some of them do not like her as much as they should. When she first arrived, Meg wasn't accepted with open arms and didn't seem to get along with all the members. Furthermore, there is the infamous story of how she acted when Meghan first met the Queen. She reportedly curtsied a little too low and then spoke to her in an overly familiar manner, which made the Queen uncomfortable. Number 5, frosty family. Now that Meghan is no longer an official member of the royals, she's been dishing about Prince Harry's side of the family, and she tells us what life was really like inside the palace. A little frosty. She claimed there was a lack of warmth at royal family gatherings and finds all the standoffish behavior very odd. Kate apparently is the biggest culprit. As an American, Meg can't wrap her head around the fact that no one in the family likes to hug. But I mean, I don't really see that as a big deal, but I guess, hey, to each their own, right? It's not just Meg who finds the royal family's standard of behavior strange either. Harry has also made a few remarks about his own mother, Princess Diana, and how she was treated by the royals. My mother took a huge part in showing me an amazing life and love. Harry and Meghan both seem to share a common understanding of the royal family's ways, something that the rest of us mere mortals may never understand. Number 4, privacy. After vocalizing concerns over needing privacy as a royal, many people seem to feel as if it was an unreasonable demand for Meghan, especially during all the controversies, all while including an inside look on their life as royals, which is to be featured with never-before-seen pictures of the family. After Meghan tried to reiterate her feeling of needing privacy and how it is a basic human right. Number 3, drama. The family drama doesn't stop at Harry's royal side. Meg's half-sister had decided she wants a slice of the fame too, and was vocalizing how much of a brat Meghan was and how becoming a royal changed her. The media was having a field day pitting the two clans against each other and creating headlines that make them look worse than ever. With every move they try to make, someone is trying to one-up them, and it's become more of a game than a real-life situation. Of course, it doesn't help that the tabloids are always barking about the couple's every move and the public are now divided. Is it fair to say that no one really likes Harry and Meghan right now? It looks like the only way this can get better is if they take a step back from all the drama and put their family first. Unfortunately, in the world of modern media, each new development brings more questions about their actions and intentions. Number 2, mocking. In the second episode of Harry and Meghan, Meghan brought up her first time meeting the Queen. She described how she and Harry were attending a lunch at the Royal Lodge when he let her know that his grandmother would be joining them a little later on. In the docuseries, she says, "I remember we were in the car and driving up, and he said, 'You know how to curtsy, right?' And I just thought it was a joke." Little did Meghan know that Harry's joke was anything but. She later revealed how she had to rush off to the loo and practice curtsying a few times before the Queen arrived, making it all the more embarrassing when they finally met. The royal couple had been known to be a bit too cheeky in public, making jokes at the expense of other members. On top of that, they seem to think they're better than everyone else, often looking down on people for not having the same wealth and privilege as them. And finally, number 1, the interview. Among the many things Harry discussed during this interview, some things that totally stuck out were his comparison of some other royal members' behavior and to that of abusers, and how he dealt with the loss of his mother and his strained relationship with his brother. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and let me know your thoughts on this royalty. Starting off with number 10, the unwelcome mistress. British public's acceptance of Camilla as Charles's lover was put on hold after Diana's tragic passing. And even though it seemed illogical, Diana's passing made Camilla a supervillain in the royal saga. Camilla wasn't seen in public for 8 months following the tragedy due to Diana's passing and the subsequent backlash. Number 9, the royal affair. Now this one isn't a big secret, but the Princess of Wales was very much aware of Charles cheating on her with Camilla. His mistress at the time was regarded as a villain long before Diana and Charles filed for divorce. On top of that, she was resented up until the princess's untimely passing, and her life truly changed in the days following that incident. The then Duchess of Cornwall was not specifically held accountable for Diana's misfortune, but the people of Britain did find a newfound hatred for her greatest foe. For Diana's greatest foe. Because of the hatred, Camilla had to hide for months. And if Camilla had never gotten herself in this mess with Charles, being one of the most hated royals would have been something she would have to worry about. But it makes you question, if he cheated on Diana, who knows if he's cheated on Camilla? You know what they say, once a cheater, always a cheater. Number 8, the palace staff. Even Prince Charles's cleaning staff once kept his affair with Camilla a secret from Princess Diana, or at the very least they tried. The Prince of Wales' affair with the Duchess of Cornwall, which occurred while Charles was married to Diana, is well known to royal family followers. And it's safe to assume that some members of the royal family are not satisfied with the fact that the affair was getting screen time on Netflix's The Crown Season 4, making it by far one of the biggest royal relationship scandals. In a well-known interview with News of the World in 1995, the prince's valet, Ken Stronach, shared shocking details about Charles's affair. He was even fired because of his breach of confidentiality. Stronach claimed at the time that he scrubbed grass stains from Charles's pajamas after the prince would sneak out of bed in the middle of the night to meet with Camilla. Charles even made sure his staff made his bed look like he slept there by ruffling it up. It was pretty elaborate, but no one was fooled by it. Number 7, revealing the big secret. Charles and Camilla probably would have married much earlier if Diana had survived and gotten married as expected. Instead, for a number of years, they kept their relationship under wraps and out of the public eye. In 2004, the Prince of Wales tied the knot with his longtime partner, and she chose not to style her name as Princess of Wales, which was Diana's former title, even though she technically could have done so out of respect for her. Number 6, Prince Harry. In his most recent memoir, Spare, Prince Harry's portrayal of his stepmother Camilla is perhaps the most critical. Despite the fact that Charles and Camilla had been romantically involved on and off for decades, they did get married even after Harry and William begged Charles to reconsider. Prince Harry has not forgotten that Princess Diana referred to Camilla as the third person in her marriage. Harry once said that the tabloids had portrayed her as the villain, and in their union, she was the third person and needed to improve her appearance. The two brothers did not consider it necessary and thought it would do more harm than good. And they still wanted their father to be happy, but never expected them to get married. Harry stated because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image and the connection she was making within the British press, that made her dangerous. Additionally, there was a clear willingness on both sides to exchange information. Given that she was on her way to becoming queen consort and that she belonged to a family that was structured in a hierarchical manner, there were bound to be people or bodies discarded in the open. Harry claimed that Camilla and even his father used him or William to get better coverage in the tabloids for themselves. Number 5. Diana's mental health struggles. Diana struggled while trying to find her place in the royal family, and her mental health needs were not met. The royal family has tiptoed around acknowledging its failures in relation to Princess Diana, but years ago, they flat out blamed her for everything that happened to her. In one chilling report, Princess Diana is said to have thrown herself down the stairs while pregnant with Prince William. She had morning sickness throughout the pregnancy and also struggled with an eating disorder. In her documentary, Diana, in her own words, she says, "Charles said I was crying wolf, and I said I felt so desperate and I was crying my eyes out, and he said, 'I'm not gonna listen, you're always doing this to me. I'm going riding now.' So I threw myself down the stairs." Unfortunately, Prince Charles didn't seem very bothered. The Queen comes out absolutely horrified, shaking. She was so frightened. "I knew I wasn't gonna lose the baby." Quite bruised around the stomach, Charles went out riding, and when he came back, it was just dismissal. Total dismissal. He just carried on out of the door. Total jerk. Number 4, King Charles and Jimmy Savile. King Charles seems to be at the heart of most of the scandals relating to the British royal family. In 2022, he was associated with the prolific British youth abuser, Jimmy Savile. A Netflix documentary released on April 6 delved into the horrific story of Jimmy, a man who used his power as a beloved TV personality to cover up decades of abuse against vulnerable children. The Metropolitan Police estimated that the total number of victims was 589, most of whom were under the age of 18. His crimes weren't properly investigated until after his passing in 2011, despite decades of rumors and accusations. It seems these royal family members always attract a certain crowd. The docuseries Jimmy Savile, a British horror story, bears many revelations, one of which was Savile's closest relationship with Charles. On to number 3, hiding details about their wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is, if you want to find out, you can. The family's communications with the government are exempt from freedom of information requests, and their official papers are kept secret by Britain's National Archives for at least 50 years. Lack of transparency has led anti-monarchy groups, including the Republic, to call the monarchy an unaccountable public institution that has the power, secrecy, and influence to willfully abuse its position. Without a change, many details of the royal family's private wealth may never be known. Facts about the Duchy of Lancaster's offshore investments were leaked back in 2017. Those detailed roughly $13 million in offshore accounts. Other reports have suggested questionable foreign dealings or arrangements. King Charles was once accused of offering to help secure a knighthood for a Saudi national in response to a donation to his charitable foundation. Number 2, Princess Diana's letter. One of Diana's former butlers, Paul, said that the princess predicted her own passing in a car crash. That's pretty eerie. Apparently, she was so scared 10 months before she passed that she wrote to Paul saying that there was a plot made by a member of the royal family and that her car brakes would be tampered with and she would suffer serious head injuries, and all of this would be so that the Prince of Wales could marry again. So what did they do with that letter? Well, they keep it in a very safe place, and will Charles ever elaborate on this super suspicious letter? Most likely not, but we do still want the answers. And finally, number 1, the worst kept affair. After a publicly disastrous marriage, Diana and Charles split up in '92 and got a divorce in '96. One of their main disagreements was, of course, the affair with Camilla, which was the monarchy's worst kept secret. Diana told Martin Bashir in the infamous Panorama interview, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a little crowded. Despite the Princess of Wales' assertion that she was terrified of Camilla, Diana boldly stated to her, "I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on." Camilla tried to disprove the claim by claiming she had no idea what Diana was talking about, and Diana recalled Camilla saying that she had everything she could ever want and all the men in the world. And when asked what else she could want, Diana told Camilla, "I want my husband." Number 10. Financial independence. The couple once claimed to had given up a lot to start a whole new life, but did they? So far, most things they have been doing involve the fact that they haven't given up some aspects of the life they were once living. For one, the title of Harry and Meghan's foundation caused some royal drama because they were told they were no longer allowed to use royal Sussexes. And this was after they stepped down from their royal responsibilities. So I really don't know why they thought they would be allowed to use royal in their title. Anyway, other ways it just doesn't seem that the couple has let go completely is by the fact that they are profiting off the grief they experienced from the royals and sharing it with people in different forms like the series, interviews, memoir, and God knows what else. On top of that, they just can't seem to let go by creating these stories that bring them attention. Back to the series, which was super outrageous, by the way. There are pictures showing them leaving the castle, which they claim was taken without their permission, which was later debunked by the photographer who said he had access and permission to take the picture. So awkward, because if you're gonna share an experience, the least you can do is make sure it's credible. Number 9, Megxit. The couple negotiated their exit as senior working members, which was an unprecedented move, sending shockwaves through Britain. The late Queen admitted that the family would have preferred them to remain full-time working members, but still respect and understand their wish to live a more independent life as a family. The move was dubbed Megxit, the use of Meghan's name rather than a collective term for the two of them, which is interpreted by many as Meghan being the instigator. Harry even explained how the term Megxit is a misogynistic term, created by a troll, amplified by royal correspondence, and grown into mainstream media. Following their departure from the royal family, the couple took out several lawsuits against major news publishers. They sued the Daily Mail for their unauthorized publishing of a private letter Meghan wrote to her estranged father, and won a defamation lawsuit when they published an article alleged Harry had tried to keep secret details of his legal fight to reinstate his police protection. Number 8, profiting off the family. Even though they aren't going to be making money as working members, obviously we all know by now that they have been getting their coin talking about the royal family. Along with their highly controversial Netflix docuseries and the memoir, their production company Archwell Productions signed the $100 million deal to make the Netflix series, as well as a $25 million deal with Spotify where Meghan hosts a podcast and discusses real-life issues with celebrities. And even though they weren't paid for the interview they had done with Oprah, it cost the royal family, and honestly, kind of Meghan and Harry, their reputation. The couple chose to expose the royals in the CBS special where allegations were brought up of racism, unfair treatment, and being cut off financially after stepping back. And as juicy as the memoir was, Harry does not seem to hold back his distaste for the relation the royals have with the British media. Harry even insinuated that the relationship is like an extended arm of PR for over 30 years. We already knew how much Harry disliked the paparazzi, especially after his mother's passing, so I guess there's no surprise that he had to go in on the invasive tactics of British media. And to be fair, I can't blame him for being annoyed with them. I can only imagine how tiring it is to have to be careful of how you live your life to avoid making headlines as often as they already do. Number 7, cutting family ties. That time when they announced their departure. The bomb that Harry and Meghan dropped early in that new year reportedly caught everyone, including the Queen, off guard. Harry and the royal family began a series of discussions over the next few weeks about their new life as working royals, which would include paying their own security fees, achieving financial independence, and adhering to certain conduct standards out of concern for the Queen's reputation. And before a final week-long royal tour in February, Meghan and baby Archie lived in Canada, and since then, the couple has settled in her home city of LA. Meghan changed Harry from being the most desirable royal bachelor in the world to a stay-at-home dad who enjoys long bike rides down Venice Beach in less than 2 years. Her power is admirable. Number 6, after effects of the memoir. From headlines to word of mouth, we all think we know Harry and Meghan's true story, but there's one book that takes longtime royal fans even more in depth, revealing stories about the couple we only thought we knew. Finding Freedom, Harry and Meghan details the couple's romance, wedding, birth of their first child, and their decision to take a step back from royal duties. It takes us far beyond the picture-perfect moments to the tough decision this couple had to make in order to preserve their relationship and happiness. Frustrated Meghan is said to blame the damning royal revelations in Harry's spare memoir for the couple's plunging popularity. The Duke and Duchess were on a roll until the book came out at the start of the year. It detailed a physical scrap with William and saw Harry brand Queen Camilla as dangerous, among many other, might I add, disturbing revelations. At the time, it was reported that Meghan had reservations about the book, and now a source close to the couple has said that she is kicking herself for not being more hands-on. After the humiliating cancellation of the couple's Spotify podcast contract and rumors of a lucrative deal with Dior falling flat, she appears to be placing the blame on her husband. Number 5, unforgivable lies. Some people believe Harry and Meghan should be stripped of their titles for telling unforgivable lies, despite aspects of his own book being called into question. When his bombshell TV and podcast interviews dropped, creating a lot of controversy, Harry had to return to the UK to reunite with the family, which he only did twice. The first reunion took place in April when the Duke of Sussex flew to London to attend Prince Philip's funeral, and the second time was when he participated in the unveiling of Princess Diana's statue. Both times, there was a lot of tension between Harry and the royal family. Many were obviously upset and angry over the fact that Harry and Meghan were publicly dissing the monarchy. On to number 4, revenge. Revenge is delicious. The question is whether the royal family will take vengeance. According to Miss Ellsworth in the Royal Report, what goes around comes around. He's trashed them, he's made a fortune out of it, and we should watch this space because I wouldn't be surprised if there is some leaking on him that will do him immense damage. Number 3, a slice of the family drama. Where do we begin? After Harry had a discussion with Will about Meghan, the argument was created where, in the memoir, Harry claims that William pushed Harry onto the floor, breaking his back on a dog bowl. There have been other stories like Camilla admitting to not liking Meghan, etc., and Harry talks about the hierarchy in the video saying, you know, there's leaking, but there's also planting of stories. No one knows the full truth, but we know the full truth. Number 2, trouble in Vegas. In August 2012, Harry was photographed cavorting with a group of scantily clad women during a wild night out in Las Vegas. The incident embarrassed the royal family and resulted in an apology from Harry for letting them down. His Vegas pool game fight in 2012. Just months after his Las Vegas strip party scandal, Harry was involved in another embarrassing altercation when he was photographed wrestling a friend while playing a game of pool on vacation in Croatia. Although he later claimed the incident was a play fight, it still didn't go over well with members of the public who were concerned about his behavior. And number 1, exposing the royals. Harry was pretty close to his mom, the late Princess Diana, and even dedicated the memoir to her. Within the book, he talks about when he went back to the tunnel where the fatal car crash happened and admitted it wasn't the closure he was hoping for. Harry is quoted as saying he rode past the Ritz where his mother had dinner that night and then through the tunnel along the Seine River at the Pont de l'Alma Bridge where the car carrying Diana crashed in August of 1997. He was 23 at the time of recreating the route and asked his driver to go at 65 miles per hour, which was the exact speed her car had supposedly been driving, according to the police at the time of the crash. I'd always imagined the tunnel as some treacherous passageway, inherently dangerous, but it was just a short, simple, no-frills tunnel, Harry says, before adding that there was no reason anyone should ever pass away inside the tunnel. Is Harry insinuating something? What do you guys think? Number 10, the royal affair. Which is no big secret, first of all. The Princess of Wales, Princess Diana, was very much aware of Charles cheating on her with Camilla. The British royal family is one of the most famous in the world, and King Charles and Camilla are a big part of that. However, there's no denying that they have been controversial figures. Many people simply don't like them. One of the major reasons why people don't like Charles and Camilla is the fact that they had an affair while married to other people. From fans of Diana to everyday citizens who are just plain disgusted with their behavior. And to make matters worse, Camilla was actually present at Diana and Charles's wedding, which makes it especially hard for Charles and Camilla to get any sympathy. They're seen as untrustworthy and opportunistic since they had been cheating on their spouses for years before the affair was made public. Number 9, out of touch. Unpopularity of Charles and Camilla is largely due to the fact that they present a monarchy out of touch with modern times. That's illustrated by their refusal to accept the limitations placed on them by public opinion, as well as their lack of engagement in social and political issues. The public's distaste for Charles and Camilla is further exacerbated by the way they treat their subjects. They have a reputation for being aloof, unapproachable, and out of touch with the everyday concerns of their constituents. That's been particularly noticeable in recent years, as Charles and Camilla are often seen at social events or galas where they can be seen laughing and mingling with other high-profile figures, while the people they should be engaging with are ignored. Number 8, the palace staff. Even Prince Charles's cleaning staff once kept his affair with Camilla a secret from Princess Diana. I mean, at the very least, they tried to. In 2006, a royal employee named Stephen Knott was asked by Diana to investigate whether Charles was having an affair. He came back saying the rumors weren't true and Diana took him at his word. Little did she know that not only had Knott heard about the affair firsthand from other palace staff members, he'd even sent flowers to Camilla on Charles's command. Juicy. Number 7, revealing the big secret. Charles and Camilla probably would have married much earlier if Diana had survived and gotten married as expected. Instead, for a number of years, they had to keep their relation under wraps and out of the public eye. That made them quite unpopular, and when they eventually tied the knot in 2005, the public was not too happy about it. Rumors were rampant. Was Charles cheating on Diana? Did he never truly love her to begin with? What exactly is going on with these two people who are now married to each other? People just can't comprehend why Charles would go from loving to Diana to marrying Camilla. The situation was made worse by the fact that Charles and Camilla had a rather strange courtship involving secret meetings and clandestine phone conversations. So why is it that no one likes King Charles and Camilla? Simple. People feel betrayed by the relationship and question its authenticity. For many, it's difficult to look past the fact that Charles and Camilla had an affair while he was still married to Princess Diana. Number 6, Prince Harry. In his most recent memoir, Spare, Prince Harry's portrayal of his stepmother Camilla, who is now the Queen Consort, is perhaps the most critical. Despite the fact that Charles and Camilla had been romantically involved on and off for decades, they did get married even after Harry and William begged Charles to reconsider. Prince Harry wrote that he felt nothing but disappointment for his father's choice of Camilla as a second wife, and his words have been echoed by many. The common sentiment is that Charles was too weak to stand up to Camilla and her pushy, manipulative behavior. It's often believed that if Charles had followed the advice of his sons, he could have avoided a host of problems, but sadly, he didn't, and it's clear that the relationship between him and his sons has never fully recovered. Harry's criticism of Charles and Camilla is so damning that some believe it to be the real reason behind their recent split from the royal family. Whether or not this is true remains to be seen, but it's certainly an interesting speculation. Number 5, Princess Diana. Princess Diana struggled while trying to find her place in the royal family, and her mental health needs were not met. The royal family has tiptoed around acknowledging his failure in relation to Princess Diana, but years ago they flat out blamed her for everything that happened to her. In one chilling report, Princess Diana was said to have thrown herself down the stairs while pregnant with Prince William. She had morning sickness throughout the pregnancy and also struggled with an eating disorder. When Charles and Camilla got married, many felt that the royal family had done a complete 180 in terms of its relationship with Princess Diana. It was almost as if they had forgotten about her entirely and replaced her with an equally controversial woman who had become widely disliked by the public. Then there's King Charles himself. He's known for being pompous, arrogant, and unapproachable. He's refused to listen to the public's opinion on various matters and has acted as if he is untouchable. Number 4, indiscretions. King Charles seemed to be at the heart of most of the scandals relating to the British royal family. It didn't help when he was famously caught on camera in a compromising situation with Camilla during the mid-2000s. That incident sparked debate surrounding the legitimacy of their relationship and left many people questioning if Charles loved Diana. The subsequent marriage between Charles and Camilla has been met with mixed reactions from citizens. The couple's lavish lifestyle with expensive trips and luxurious parties has been the subject of much criticism from many of the public. In recent years, Charles and Camilla have tried to make themselves look more human to the public through various charity events, but they still remain very unpopular among many in Britain who cannot forget their past indiscretions. Number 3, hidden details about wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is if you want to find out, you can. Charles and Camilla, for example, are known to have a fortune of around $90 million. Not bad for two people who don't actually do anything. They even have their own private jet just so they can go on the many holidays they enjoy. So while taxpayers foot the bill for their lavish lifestyles, Charles and Camilla keep their wealth hidden from the public, which doesn't score them any points in the popularity stakes, and let's not even get started on their tax avoidance schemes. Number 2, showing no support. The tragic fire at Grenfell Tower in 2017 was a very dark day for London, and indeed Britain as a whole. The public expected to see the royal family show their support for those affected, but instead, Charles and Camilla decided to stay tucked away in the Windsor Castle. While other members of the royal family did pay visits to survivors and first responders, no such gesture was made by Charles or Camilla, a fact that has done little to endear them to the British public. In short, it's clear that their unwillingness to show any empathy for the victims of this horrendous tragedy has not been forgotten or forgiven. And finally, number 1, worst kept affair. After a publicly disastrous marriage, Charles and Diana split up in '92 and got a divorce in '96. One of their main disagreements was his open affair with Camilla, which was the monarchy's worst kept secret. The public didn't take kindly to Charles and Camilla's relationship, as we already know, but the two seem to be more in love than ever. Charles did his best to keep his relationship with Camilla a secret for as long as possible. I mean, he did fail really poorly, but it all came out in the end. And now everyone knows that Charles is married to a woman who once had an affair with him. Despite being married, Charles and Camilla have yet to be accepted by the general public, and while some may give them credit for their resilience in overcoming public adversity, others remain skeptical about their relationship's validity. In the end, it seems like no one is really on board with this royal union except for the couple themselves. The situation has been further complicated by the fact that Camilla is not seen as a legitimate queen, and many people are still holding on to their hatred of what happened between her, Charles, and Diana. Whether it's fair or not, they've been judged and will continue to be judged until the public can come to terms with them being together. But that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more juicy news, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.